Hello everyone, thank you all so much for tuning into today's case. Robin Burton Jr. was a 28-year-old homeless man who took an offer of a warm meal and a bed from the wrong person. On January 18, 2009, a maintenance worker discovered Robin's body inside of an apartment. The apartment belonged to Kyle Morgan, a 29-year-old mentally ill and drug-addicted alcoholic who had fled the scene. Kyle was eventually caught in Tennessee after he struck two pedestrians and got his car wedged between a tree and a concrete barrier. But before Kyle murdered Robin, the two went to buy drugs and went back to Kyle's apartment to drink beer and play video games. But then, Kyle beat Robin in the head with a hammer. He also stabbed him 20 to 30 times and cut pieces of his flesh away from his body. On the wall, with a mix of his own blood and Robin's blood, Kyle wrote, "It is better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." He also set 3 Uno cards reading 666 on top of Robin's chest and placed a skull and crossbones on his temple. Authorities called the scene gruesome, saying that there was blood smeared all over the walls and the body had been discreted. In Kyle's apartment, police found disturbing poetry and pictures. They also found letters he had written to Dennis Rader and Richard Ramirez, both who were serial killers also. Kyle called himself Thrill Kill Kyle on his MySpace page, which has since been deleted. On Kyle's MySpace, he stated that he is down with Satan. He bragged about punching 4 police officers in the face, mentioned that he enjoyed drinking women's blood, and he had images of women in bondage. There was a time Kyle cut his neck 3 times and then slit both his wrists, and then he said, "Man, I really cut deep this time." He also slit his wrist and jumped from a second-story balcony after a fight with his girlfriend. Kyle had been hospitalized numerous times, and he had at least 8 suicide attempts. He was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Kyle's parents had him admitted to mental hospitals many times over the years. He was placed in facilities all over the country. Kyle's father said he would briefly appear rehabilitated before relapsing again. His father also mentioned that they have tried to have him involuntarily admitted to a facility, but the judge rejected it because he hadn't harmed anyone. Yet. After that, a doctor prescribed Vyvanse, which he was taking when he murdered Robin. Dr. Jonathan Howard, a forensic psychiatrist, called the drug poison and especially dangerous for those with a bipolar diagnosis. By increasing the dopamine level in the brain, Vyvanse can exacerbate psychosis and cause those with bipolar disorder to become increasingly irritable and prone to violent outbursts. Kyle's first violent episode was in 2008. A few weeks after starting the medication, he cut his then-girlfriend in the butt before jumping from a second-story balcony, believing he could fly. A second forensic psychiatrist, Dr. James Canavan, described Morgan's mental illness and substance abuse, dark thoughts, and morbid obsessions as lighter fluid. Vyvanse was the match. Dr. Canavan stated, "What resulted is a state of mind simply out of control." Canavan said, "There was no impulse control and it made no sense. It wasn't premeditated." Dr. Canavan called the crime an impulse and not likely to reoccur. The judge stated at the sentencing, the Vyvanse is a medication that should have not been prescribed to Mr. Morgan in the first place. It was prescribed, the violence ensued, and now Robin Burton is dead. But at the end of the day, Kyle Morgan must pay for his crime. Kyle pleaded guilty, but was mentally ill and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. I do truly believe that Kyle should be held accountable for what he did, but at the same time, you're a doctor, you should know what you're prescribing to your patients and how it would affect them. So I feel like that was a big error right there. I really feel bad because the innocent party in this story is Robin. He didn't deserve to die. I'm happy that Robin got some kind of justice that he deserved, but to me, he didn't really get justice. Thank you all so much for tuning into today's case. Have a nice day. Hello everyone, thank you all.